Hello, Blue Demons. Happy Sunday and welcome to Get to Know DePaul. Today I'm joined by Sarah Carbone from Student Employment. Before we get started, though, as you can for all of our sessions, you have the opportunity to check into today's live stream by scanning the QR code pictured here or by clicking the link that's in the comments box. You can check in anytime between now and September 11th, whether you're watching live or the recorded video afterwards, for your chance to win one of our stainless steel map water bottles. So be sure to check in. You can check in for every single session. We're doing around 28 of these. So take that time to get to know DePaul a little bit more and enter for your chance to win. But we will go ahead and get started. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Courtney.
Yeah, so for those of you who might be new to the stream, Get to Know DePaul is a deep dive series that we're doing to get to know departments, services, and different opportunities that you have available to you in your student in your time as a student at DePaul. So Sarah, how about you start off by telling us a little bit about who you are, how long you've been at DePaul, and why you decided to come here in the first place.
Yeah, so Courtney said my name is Sarah Carbone. I manage the Office of Student Employment as well as the EDGE program. Those offices are housed within the Career Center. I've been at DePaul for 9.5 years, all in student employment, EDGE-related roles. So I love student employment. I love DePaul. One of the reasons why I got into this area is I had a great experience working on campus at my alma mater. The reason why I came to DePaul is I was actually a grad student in one of the counseling programs, master's counseling program here at DePaul. And this position came up and it really spoke to me because of some of my past experiences and me just having a good experience at DePaul. So I applied for it and, 9.5 years later, here I am.
Yeah. Way back when at your alma mater, what was your first on-campus job? I'm just curious.
I worked at Ohio University. That's my alma mater. And I was in the campus recreation department. So I was like an entrance attendant, similar to what you'll see at the Ray when you walk in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I talked with Stephanie and Ricky earlier this week from Campus Recreation, and they were talking about some of their opportunities for employment. And my very first job was also in Campus Recreation.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. It's like a fun department to work for. So anyone who's interested in working in Campus Rec, that's a great department to work for. Yeah.
So Sarah, how about you tell us a little bit more about student employment? Obviously on-campus jobs are an essential part of a university. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I think the great thing about on-campus jobs, specifically for students who are looking to get more involved or as well as, obviously get paid, this is a way for students to be on campus. Like, again, convenience is a big thing. So they can go to class and then work at their department wherever they are for 3 hours, go back to class. So it is a nice way for students to have that convenience. Get paid for all those expenses, maybe living in Chicago or whatnot, and also to get involved not only with other students who might be your coworkers, but the biggest part actually that we see with student employees is actually the mentorship that they receive from staff and faculty working in that department. So a lot of times, you get to meet so many different staff members who will really help you out throughout your journey in the department. And so I think that that's a big thing. And we really, especially here at DePaul and the Office of Student Employment, really try to focus on what are you learning, what skills are you building that can help you in the next journey, whether it's finding an internship or finding a full-time job. That's one of the biggest reasons why the Office of Student Employment is housed within the Career Center, is because we try in many different ways to make sure students understand that there's building skills that they can use later on besides just earning a paycheck.
Yeah. So, Sarah, I know we were talking a little bit about jobs and campus recreation. Can you give our viewers today some examples of some types of employment that they might find as a student at DePaul?
Yeah. So any students, when they walk through campus, if they're walking through campus, they're going to see a lot of students working, whether it's in the student center. We talked about the Ray, the library. A lot of different opportunities with like the Stain Center, who work with a lot of nonprofits and schools. Basically every department that you walk into at DePaul, there's typically someone at the front desk who is really probably a student and a receptionist, whether it's you're meeting with your advisor or you're walking into the student affairs office. There's usually students always working that front desk. So really you do see students working all over the place on campus. And it's not just your typical places that you see, like the library and things like that, but any really office on campus has student employees working in it. Some of them might have more student employees than others, like we talked about some of those bigger type employers. But again, like any office that you see on campus is probably going to have at least one student employee working there.
Yeah. Well, I know in student involvement, we have those front desk receptionists, as you're talking about. We have two levels of student employment. We have our student staff and our student assistants. And our student staff are really those people that you're talking about. They manage our front desk, help with day-to-day operations. And then we have other positions as well that we call them staff assistants, but they typically require specialized knowledge. So our graphic designers, we have videographers, we have a student organization leader specialist, all sorts of different things. So I think as people are exploring potential employment opportunities at the university, what they're really going to find, especially for these offices, is yes, they have those receptionist positions that you're talking about. And then there's all these other positions too that particularly as you spend a little bit of time at DePaul in your academic major, you're going to find a specialized position where you can apply that knowledge to. And I think that's where that relationship with the Career Center really comes in handy as well.
Yeah, and so like you said, you could start off in a receptionist type position where maybe it's more of administrative work, and then you kind of move up and maybe you go somewhere else because you're interested in social media and there's a social media designer at a different department, or you could stay in your own department. It really depends on what you're looking for. A lot of students like to tie their major into it, and a lot of students just do it because they like to have fun in that department. And so it really just depends on what you're looking for. And our office on the campus job board has levels of what we think, based on experience or interest, where you might fall when you're applying for it, to kind of say, okay, this requires this much experience and whatnot. But yeah, the Career Center is definitely a place to go if you are, wanting to take that next step and go somewhere else. And maybe it's still on campus employment. You kind of want to build your skills or get more of a challenge. That's a good way of doing that as well.
Yeah. Well, you spoke a little bit about the job board, Sarah. Would you mind showing our viewers what the job board looks like?
Yeah, sure. So again, this is the campus job board. If you all go to studentemployment.depaul.edu, and it'll have a campus job board button. So you click on that, a student login, and it should take you to this homepage right here. A couple of things to note when you get into it for the first time. There's a lot of advice on our page to kind of talk about what you should be looking out for when going through campus job board. Check often. This is a big thing that I think students should be mindful of. Is every day, feel free to go onto campus job board just to see what other jobs are available, because we post whenever they come in. We post them and they get posted. There isn't a day that it's like, oh, we post all of our new jobs. It's all the time that we will post these positions. We have information about submitting a cover letter, which I know sometimes students can struggle with. So there's information from the Career Center about that. One thing that is required is a resume. So you want to make sure that you have a resume before you start applying to positions. And we do have some tips, as well as a way to visit our peer career coaches who are on Zoom for certain hours that they can do. You can just pop in and talk to them about your resume and get tips. And they are also on-campus student employees, so they know exactly what managers are looking for when it comes to your resume. So this is the homepage. If you go to the profile section, this is what we're going to ask you to fill out when you first join. You're going to put obviously your contact information, what school you're in, what standing, whether you're undergrad or graduate, and then your availability. This is really important to think about when you're looking for jobs on campus. So when you click on edit, you'll go to click here to view or edit your schedule. You want to make sure that this is as green as possible. Obviously, if you have classes and weekly commitments, we don't want you to put that into your schedule. But if you don't have classes on Friday or on Thursday, go ahead and click that you're free all day. If your weekends are pretty much available, go ahead and click the weekends as well. We do have a lot of departments who are open on the weekends, so that might be something to think about. And so these managers who post these positions see your schedule. So they want to make sure that, again, it's as available as it is without maybe, again, your classes or weekly commitments that you have. So when you hit save and continue, it'll take you back to the profile section. Obviously, you're going to put some more information in there, but that's pretty much it for the profile. And then you're ready to start uploading your documents. As you can see here, I have a resume and a cover letter listed just as an example. You can put, as many documents as you want on here. Obviously, you'll need to have at least a resume. And then cover letter is something that, even if it's not required, we always recommend students to put a cover letter that really specifies why they're applying to this position, why they'd be a good fit. It gives the manager more of information about you. And so it really shows some initiative, even if it's not required to post a cover letter. Even if it is required, that's something that you can't apply without a cover letter. So something to think about as well. There's also something you can put, a supplemental document. Sometimes students put, maybe a letter of recommendation or something that they want to show the manager as well. If a supplemental document is required, it'll show in the job description what that supplemental document is. Sometimes it's an essay form or a writing sample, things like that you might have to apply for. And then in the job section, these are all of our jobs that we currently have available. And then also here is our ladder of employment. I wanted to make sure that I spend some time on this ladder of employment because I know we get some questions from students about it. So ladder of employment really is like a beginner position. So a ladder level A all the way to D. So this is how we rate our positions. One thing I want to make sure that people understand is that if a position really stands out to you and you think, oh, I don't know if I have that much experience, I want you to make sure that you're still able to apply for it. Go ahead and apply for that position, especially if you're really interested in it, because you really never know what will happen. We just kind of give these guides as a way for not only students to look at, but also managers in terms of where their positions fall when it comes to, level of responsibility and things like that. But if you really like it and you want it and you think it'd be a great fit for you, go ahead and apply for it. We are not restricting you from applying to any position that's posted on the job board. And one thing also to consider, it's both undergrads and grads are on this page as well. So feel free to apply to any jobs that you feel as though would be a fit. As you can see here, we put the job title as well as the department and then campus. So this is a new thing that we are all into right now is the remote. These positions are going to be remote for the time being. It'll give you more information in the job description as well as when the manager, if they request an interview from you, you kind of talk about, again, what does that mean? How long will it be remote? Things like that. Most of our campus jobs before, obviously, the pandemic, were in person. So we do have quite a bit of positions that will be remote for the time being. And then we do have some that are in person. So you can see Lincoln Park and Loop, things like that. Those are positions that you would have to be okay with being on campus, at the start of the position. And then when you click on the position, it'll give you a job description, general summary, principal duties and responsibilities, again, what you're going to be doing in that role, as well as some requirements, qualifications, things like that. And then our requirements and scheduling. So something to consider as well, based on what your class schedule is and what you have other, requirements, obligations, how would that fit? All student positions, student employees can't work more than 20 if they're an international student or 25 if they're a U.S. citizen domestic student. So something to consider as well. And those are all jobs combined. So if you have more than one job, you have to stay within that frame per week. So 20 hours for international students and 25 for domestic. And so if you're interested in applying for this position, you would just hit apply and it would take you to a section that actually has your documents, asks you if you need to update your schedule in any way, shape, or form. And so you can just click on resume and I want to add my cover letter as well. And then you can hit, you're basically verifying that you are enrolled in school, because that is one requirement, that you do have to be enrolled in order to receive a student employment position. And also just like terms of applying, and then you hit next and you actually do apply. So I don't want to apply for this position. But this is something to consider when you're doing this, is really thinking about, again, applying to as many jobs as you feel as though you would be a fit, and making sure, again, like I said, every day you go back to see if there's other positions that you're applying for. We do get sometimes students will apply to, 10 positions in one day and then they don't look for another month. That's probably not the best strategy. You want to make sure that you're applying to positions when you first start, and then again, checking every day And it is competitive, especially now with everything going on. We don't have as many on-campus presence as we usually do. So some of those positions are on hold. So there is some time that students might be applying for a month before they even get a call from a manager. And that unfortunately is just, it's high competition because we're so many students who are applying for positions. But that's one thing to consider, is to make sure that you're, try not to get too down about it. There's a lot of students applying for it. But if you need help, you can always come to the Career Center to get more information and to help with your resume. I think that's all I wanted to go over with the campus job board, Courtney.
Yeah, that's great. That's very helpful. Thanks for showing that. That's a nice feature now too, that you can add in you can search by remote positions too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you are home in Texas and you still want to find a job, you can click on those remote positions. And the manager will also give you an understanding of when they might be on campus and whatnot. But you can do it from home. And we do have a lot of students right now working from home. It takes a lot of discipline and diligence, as it took me a lot of discipline working from home when we first started, but it definitely can be done. So we want to make sure that students are also have the ability to work from home if possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I know in student involvement, we have a very robust team of students working from home. And we've had a lot of those conversations too, of like, this is working now, but I think the name of the game is really being flexible. And that advice of continually looking at the job board, I think is a really good one for students to think about, because, you know, as DePaul's on-campus presence shifts, how many on-campus jobs we have will also shift. So even if you don't find a job now, you can look in December and again in March for the start of spring, you know, and like it really is, it's being persistent so that you have that opportunity to find employment.
And two, if you're starting out, you know, you're maybe new to DePaul and you're getting your feet wet with your classes, it's okay to not apply right now, and to maybe wait a couple of months and then start applying once you've gotten your foot in, like you understand how everything works and you've gone through the college transition a little bit, and that's totally fine. We do have positions posted all year long. There is more positions typically posted kind of at the beginning of a quarter, just because we see, you know, students graduating or doing other things, getting internships and whatnot. So we do see like high turnover between those quarters. But again, we'll always have positions posted to apply to throughout the year.
Yeah. And we have students who ask us quite frequently about, you know, student involvement hiring. And one other piece of advice that I would give, you know, if you really know that you want to work in an area, it never hurts to reach out and just ask them, like, what does your hiring cycle look like? And they'll tell you, you know, like, I mean, if you were to contact student involvement right now, we're not hiring right now, but if we, like, when we go back to our more robust campus experience, we'll have more positions available then. And like, especially if you have a specific skill set, and you could see that we're always looking to see, because it is student employment. We have a turnover in a way that you know, traditional employers might not, because you all go off and get students go off and get internships and other jobs and graduate and all these things we want you to do, but it means that we have a high turnover for a lot of things too. So it never hurts to reach out to offices and departments if you're interested as well.
No, it shows actually initiative as well, and networking skills too. So one other tip I'll give when you're looking through Campus Job Board is sometimes the managers who post the positions put their name on the position. So that is an open invitation to send this manager an email saying, hey, I applied to your position on Campus Job Board. I'm really interested in it. Here's my resume and cover letter for review. Not a ton of students do that. Whenever I post a position, I always put my name on there just to see how many students are, you know, observing and paying attention and take that extra step. Typically, when students do that, I automatically give them an interview, because again, it's showing that initiative, it's showing that networking piece that we so much look for in our roles. And so I think that is a good thing. But even like you said, if you were interested in working in student involvement or in any type of, you know, department that you've had a good experience with, you send them an email and say, hey, I'm really interested in working in a department. What are your positions and when do you start hiring? I haven't seen anything on the job board. Just so again, you can get that information. And also too, it shows that you're passionate about that department. And so that's the people that they want, that's the students they want to hire as well. So again, it shows that initiative and could definitely work out for you doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarah, for our viewers, if they have questions about student employment throughout the fall quarter, how can they get in touch with you all?
Yeah, so we have an email. It's just studentemployment@depaul.edu. If they want to send us an email, we also have a phone number that's listed on our website as well that they can call. We're still answering those phone calls. So that's a one way that they can get in touch with us. I would say the biggest thing that we see with students is needing help with their resume, which they can do so from the Career Center website. We do have, like I mentioned before, peer career coaches that look over resumes, and it takes about 20 minutes. Again, it's all through Zoom on the Career Center website, that they can do that as well. And I know that Career Center is going to be with you in a few days, so maybe they'll talk about that as well. But that's like the biggest thing we see is students maybe needing to update their resume or even start their resume if they didn't do so in high school. And that's one thing that you want to make sure that you have a strong resume as much as possible before you start applying to those positions.
Yeah, connect with the Career Center by visiting careercenter.depaul.edu. There, just like Sarah said, you can get help on your resume, set some things up so that you can be primed and ready to go when you see that position that you're ready to apply for.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Sarah, I know one of the other areas that you all supervise is the EDGE program. And, I'm just curious if you can tell us a little bit about what EDGE is, either for our students who are going to be participating in it or these new students who are going to hear that some of their colleagues might be in it as well.
Sure. The EDGE program was also started in the Office of Student Employment. It is a partnership with the Financial Aid Office. So depending on your situation when you apply to DePaul, you could get nominated for the EDGE program. And it's a first-year career development scholarship program where students get placed in different teams throughout the campus. I know Student Involvement has a couple of teams with us this year. And it really depends on your interests and sometimes if you're interested in marketing, you might be put, on a marketing team. And these students receive a scholarship quarterly, and they do kind of pre-internship projects with the team. And they also help us by doing different projects that might help us, again, like student involvement, have more of a presence on campus with first-year students. And so they do those projects while also doing career milestones throughout the year that are hosted by the Career Center, as well as financial money management skills, which I actually learn something every year from our financial fitness department in the Financial Aid Office. So they go through those different milestones and they receive a scholarship per quarter. And at the end of the year, no pun intended, but we feel as though they have an edge when it comes to career development and getting that next step, whether it's an on-campus job or an internship after their freshman year, because they've built these skills through different projects and different career development workshops. And so we have about 250 students this year, and the program has grown every year. And one of the things is why we started EDGE is we noticed that a lot of first-year students were having a hard time finding jobs on campus. And this is one way that you can subsidize that by getting involved in this program and kind of learning the skills and experiences so that you can find maybe an on-campus job your sophomore year or an internship as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, our two EDGE teams with everyone else, I think, will get started in October if I remember the timeline correctly.
Yeah.
And we've got two. One that helps with school affinity projects. It's our Blue Thursday team, and then this year we added a second one surrounding voter engagement. So that one, obviously, it's an election year, but you have people have the opportunity to vote even in non-presidential election years. So they'll be doing a lot to help promote voter engagement on campus. So we're excited for them.
Yeah, I was super excited about both those teams this year with student involvement, for sure.
Yeah. So, Sarah, as we head towards the tail end of our interview, if any of our viewers have any questions about student employment, feel free to post them in the comments. But, just curious, Sarah, if you have any advice generally for new students, new first-year students, or new to DePaul students, either about student employment or just about being a college student in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is reaching out to any staff or faculty for help. I think that is the biggest thing, especially now with all the other stressors that we have going on. The staff and faculty are here to help you. And if you're, have just a simple question and you don't want to feel like you're bothering, don't worry about that. Bother us with those questions because we feel as though that can really help. as much as possible, whether it's a professor or you're just struggling in class or you need help with homework or whatnot, reaching out to those professors, or just, again, in general, all these different offices that we have on campus, and maybe just asking, what can I do about this? And everyone was wanting to help as much as possible. If they're not the right person to, answer that question, we'll get you to the right person. So I think that's my biggest advice, is just really knowing that there's staff here to support you. So reaching out as much as possible is something that we hope that you do, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's great. And as always, if students, if you don't know where to go or where to go with your question, you can, you really can reach out to anybody, but you're also always welcome to reach out to the involvement email. We've been promoting it throughout the series as well, but it's involvement@depaul.edu. If we don't have the answer, we can get you pointed in the right direction of who can help you with something. But Sarah, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Of course.
For if you didn't catch it on the front of the stream, you still have the opportunity to check in. Again, you can check in anytime between now and Friday, September 11th for this or any of our streams, whether you're watching live or you're watching the on-demand version of it. So this series, Get to Know DePaul, is part of Welcome Week. And throughout Welcome Week, it started back on August 26th, goes till Friday, September 11th. But we have over 165 offerings for students during that time. So you can find the full schedule at welcomeweek.depaul.edu. We'll be back this afternoon with Get to Know DePaul, featuring our esports program. So I'll be here with 3 of our students who are highly engaged in the program as well. But in the meantime as well, you have the opportunity to attend a few other Welcome Week programs that we've got slated. The first is tonight with Haunted Chicago. So we'll be doing online ghost stories with our colleagues from Haunted Chicago to talk a little bit about the haunted side of Lincoln Park. So you can join us via the live streams on OSI, the DePaul Activities Board, or ResEd's Facebook pages. Then this Tuesday, you can join us for a paint and palette. We're going to be painting a skyline, the skyline pictured of the city of Chicago. And there's 3 different ways that you can participate. For our students in quarantine, you can request to have a pack delivered to your room so that you can finish out your quarantine. If you're in Lincoln Park, you can stop by the Office of Student Involvement and pick one up between 1 and 5 on the 2nd floor of the Lincoln Park Student Center. Or if you are a remote student this quarter, you can sign up to have one mailed to you as well. So all of those links are pictured here, or you can find them in the Student Involvement D-Hub page as well. And then finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Welcome Week Remix. This is our first day of class program we're doing. Having a video DJ. You'll be able to request songs live. Fully virtual event. We are going to have an in-person element. If you're in Lincoln Park, you can head over to Quarterloo Commons and experience it with other people in a physically distant way as well. But again, feel free to check into today's broadcast by scanning the code here. And Sarah, as always, it was great talking with you. Thanks for giving up part of your Sunday morning to be with us here. And to our students, we will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.